Your phone. Oh, your laptop. The music. The music is playing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. And there's a whole lot of activity going on here. And today I'm super excited for many reasons. Perhaps and most importantly, my mom is in the studio. She'll be coming in probably towards the end of the studio. She's turning 95 today. So if you have an opportunity, go to my social media and give her a happy birthday shout out because she is going to love it. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Coach Elix. I forget to tell everyone who I am. I am a coach. I am also a healthcare executive, and I have my coaching practice. I've been coaching for the last 20 years. And coaching is everything to me. Coaching is about really inspiring people to be their best self. And I do so by being my best self every single day. Get a Grip with Coach Elix came from my own methodology, GRIP, which stands for Greatness Requires Intention and Purpose. So the next time you say to yourself, get a grip, think about being great at something and knowing that to be great, it's going to require intention and lots of purpose. And with me, I have two incredible gentlemen. One of them is my co-host, and the one and only Stephen the Medium. And he's amazing, and you can certainly tune in to his show on Wednesdays at 5. And so hello, Stephen.
Well, good afternoon, Coach Elix.
Good afternoon. Anything you want to say?
Just that I'm very privileged and very excited and happy to be here. It's a beautiful day, and I know this is going to be another amazing show, as they have been.
Thank you. You know what? It's show number 3, and
Yes.
I swear to God, it already feels like I'm about to celebrate my first year anniversary. I don't know why. And today, my producer, Mark, it's looking incredibly sharp. I wonder why you're looking so sharp, Mark.
He looks hot.
He really does.
Well, it seems that now I have fashion consultants.
It's called a fashion coach.
Yes, and they pick out my wardrobe.
So you can look pretty.
Yes.
And you do.
Oh,
and
thank
you look
Exactly.
amazing. And today we're not going to be dealing with hand signals and sign language. We actually have real signals. So I'm likely not going to be as discombobulated today as I was last time because Mark was giving me some sign language and I had no idea what he was talking about.
Wow.
So
I think you'll be right on.
Yes,
Right on
you're in for a
point
treat.
today.
let's hope.
Right on point today.
Let's hope he gives me a sign to take a break and I look at it like, what? What does that mean? Anyway, and today we are going to talk about mindsets. Mindsets matter. This is about thriving during a crisis, COVID-19 and beyond. You know, sometimes, although we are dealing with an incredible crisis, nationwide, globally, actually, there are other things. There are many breakdowns that, we deal with day in, day out. And this is about how to change your mindset from a negative mindset and create a whole new paradigm into a positive mindset. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute because I also want to tell you I have an incredible guest. This is somebody that I am super proud of. He is, first and foremost, he's an incredible friend of mine. Him and his wife, I totally adore them, and I have the highest of respect for him. I'm also privileged to have worked with him and his wife for the last 5 years. And his story is a story that really you want to tune in and you want to listen because it is a story that it will inspire anyone, any business owner or anyone who has been faced with an unexpected breakdown, an unexpected circumstance, and what do you do in the face of that? So, what do you think about that?
I'm very excited because I also know both husband and wife, and I'm very excited because above and beyond what they're here for, they're both just great people. They really are just great people. I love getting together with them for dinner and just spending time with their two incredible, those two kids are just there's something. Both of them are just something. They're adorable and they are something.
And if we don't give a shout out to Jimmy and Gemma, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So, and I know they're both ham, so I know that they're probably listening and very excited. So, shout out to both of you. And I'm hoping that Melissa will also join James in the line. So what do you think about mindsets, Guy? Have you ever had a time where you have recognized, that your mindset is not the right mindset and it's not working for you? It's not giving you the results that you want?
Yeah, I mean, I have. And, I think also part of what I've experienced is when I realized that it's such a revelation, but then I think for me, my experience is, why did it take so long? Like, why didn't I figure this out? Why didn't I change it? And it's like I go through a process of, getting to that aha moment, but then also sort of, holding on to how did this happen? Like, how did I not recognize this, that I've been in this sort of negative spin for so long? So it's, I mean, there's so much, but then when you get to the other side, it's like, the Wizard of Oz. It's like Dorothy opening up the door from black and white to color. And it is just an amazing perspective, experience, and everything else just lines up.
Yeah. And, that you make a great point, Stephen, because I often have to, actually, I read an article recently about one thing that's really important, perhaps the number one thing that's really important as it relates to, perhaps shifting mindsets, is to be kind to yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. So when we go into that negative down spiral spin and we become judgmental, or we become really upset about our own behavior, we have to just simply remind ourselves that it's a breakdown. That's all that it is. And so be kind to yourself, be generous with yourself, be forgiving with yourself, and most importantly, make a choice, make a decision in the moment to correct and to alter that behavior. So altering that mindset from negative to positive, and often, does that make sense, Stephen?
And I love the be kind to yourself. I love it, because I think a lot of people just don't have that. So for you to say that and bring that up, Elix, I think is amazing for people to hear.
Yeah, and I hear it all the time. I hear people blaming and judging, and even being resentful with oneself because, how could I? How could I have been so dumb? What was I thinking? How many of you, can hear yourself in this conversation? And the truth is, it's okay. It's a breakdown. And part of being in this earth, part of being a human is that breakdowns do happen. So just like I've said before, this is not about changing the what so. The what so, it's whatever that is, It's about who you're going to be in the face of breakdown. And I can't wait to talk to James about who did he have to be in the face of that major breakdown to turn it around. Because let me tell you something, he did turn it around, and what he's doing is pretty amazing. So are we good? The other thing that I hear a lot is when people, often say, but, how am I going to get that done? It just doesn't seem realistic. It just doesn't seem possible. Is it, is that really a possibility that I can actually have my dream come true? And this is 2020 in COVID-19 is a perfect example. Let's examine what 2020 has brought us so far. Complete unprecedented results, right? Nobody, if anyone said to us in December of 2019, do you think we're going to have a pandemic that's going to really stop the world, in its, in action right there? People would say, no way. It's not possible. Not here anyways, right? So 2020 has taught us that anything is possible. So my goodness, if you don't get that anything is possible after what we've been dealing with so far, then we have to talk. You may need a one-on-one with Coach Elix, because the truth is anything is possible. Here's what most people get caught up on. They get caught up on anything it's possible in a bad way. So now listen to the conversations that are happening out there today. What are most people saying right now? What are you hearing mostly today?
You mean currently?
Yeah.
Just a lot of negativity. Just about, life is never going to be the same. I'm never going to find a job that I used to like. I don't have enough money. It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I hear it all the time. I see it on Facebook. I see it on my social media. I see it with business people. Focus on, we got so much unprecedented that it's been so negative that now people are expecting more of the same, more negativity. And what this show is about is the truth is that we have evidence that anything is possible. So what if, and this is an invitation for you who is listening today, this is an invitation. What if over the next 6 months, you begin to ask yourself, what could be possible? What could be the unimaginable but good? The unimaginable good. How about that? That's a challenge. That's a challenge that I'm inviting every single one of you to take on. By the way, 508-222-1320. Lines are open. So if you want to call and have a conversation with me and or my guests, you're welcome to call. But again, that's the challenge that I'm proposing to you. What if over the next 6 months you ask yourself, what can I create? What is the unimaginable good that I can create for myself and for my life? How about that? And by the way, can I see that sign again? Mark, the producer, he's very funny. And, so
Es hora
he's so
de tomar
cute.
un descanso.
So for my Spanish-speaking listeners, he sign actually says, es hora de tomar un descanso. So I think what he's telling me, it's time for a break. And when we come back, we're going to have James Mamory, and we're going to talk to him about how he transformed his mindset in the midst of a major breakdown from negative to positive. 508-222-1320. Thank you. And welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. Before the break, I told you that I have a wonderful guest on the line. His name is James Memory. So let's,
I
I
can
don't
still hear
know.
the music.
There's some music going on in the background.
Okay, now it's done.
I think now it's done.
Now it's off.
So
No, it wasn't here.
No, it's not. It's not us. But that's okay. There's no music anymore. So, and I think we can get James on the line. Hello, Mr. Memory.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, James.
Hey, Steven.
Hey.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Are you nervous?
Oh, tremendously uncomfortable.
Well, and by the way, I'm planning to share with you a few tips about, how to change mindsets, and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable is one of them. So I'm glad that you're practicing that. But having said that, James, I'm glad that you're here with me. I'm really thrilled, honored, and excited that you accepted my invitation to join our show to really talk about shifting mindsets from negative to positive. So let's talk about you. Why don't you tell people a little bit about you? I've already shared with listeners that we've known each other for quite some time. We worked together in healthcare, and then we had a coaching relationship, and we have a business relationship. So why don't you share with people who you are?
Okay. Like you said, I've had a healthcare background. Worked with my family's business for about 17 years in the long-term care space, and then took a leap just over a year ago and decided to start a farmer distillery. And so we work here in Massachusetts. You mentioned my wife Melissa and I. We work hand in hand, and she does the sales. I do the manufacturing, and we work and make vodka, whiskey, and gin, and sell it locally here in Massachusetts.
And James, I know that you spent many years with your family business, and you had a really successful career for many, many years. When you talked about making that leap, what was the guiding force behind you making that leap?
I had been doing the same thing, really, successfully the same thing for about 17 years, and I was looking for another challenge, and really coming to the understanding that nothing, the future is not guaranteed, and you have to take advantage of every day. And I didn't want to spend, the rest of my life wishing I had done something. So it was set my foundation for success, and just take that leap of faith that I was just going to not waste another day and go off and do my own thing.
Yeah, and James, that's really awesome, because that's a reminder. Last week we talked about being willing. The only way that you can actually get the results, win at your own game, whatever that is, however you define that, is you got to get on the court. You can't stay in the sidelines wishing for something. And you had a choice. You could just keep doing what you were doing. By the way, you were very successful. Your family business is tremendously successful. Or you could just take a leap and reach for your dreams.
Right.
And those industries are completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah, I like to think that there's always an overlap. All business is a customer service business. When you get down to it, you're always looking to solve someone's problem and help them out. So that as long as you can see through all, everything else is really dressing. Whether you're healthcare is really hospitality. If someone doesn't have, they could be sick and in pain. But if they don't have their food, or their entertainment on time, that's what they focus on. And there's that parallel to distilled spirits. It's like a restaurant. You want to make sure that everyone gets what they want at the right time, and that they're having a great experience while consuming that product.
And James, I know that you held on to a plan. It was like James had a secret business plan, right? And you held on to that business plan for how many years?
3 years.
3 years. And then all of a sudden, what would you say was, because we talk about purpose before, why this? Like, what is it about doing this that gets you really excited? Because I can tell you, being around James, that when he's doing what he's doing today, it's like he's a brand new person. In fact, what you're doing right now, it's something that you would have never done in a million years before.
Right.
So why a distillery? Why creating a new product? Why such a shift in your mindset?
Yeah, I guess it comes down to just I always have a sense of curiosity with everything, and my wife tends to blame it on my attention deficit disorder, where I hyper focus on things and overconsume information, and I try to be an expert in one thing, and then I move on to something else, and I try to be an expert in that. And I got to a point where, like you said, I had that 3-year plan where I tested products in the background, and I bounced ideas off of friends and family, and again, my relationship with you, and I got to a point where I was like, okay, I got this. It's now or never. Let's try to. I can't do a hobby. This either has to be a full-time thing. It has to launch into the world, or I have to move on and get back to status quo. And so I chose that leap of faith.
Yeah, you were not willing to accept status quo anymore. So, entrepreneurs out there, if you're listening, this is what it takes. You have to be willing to take that leap and do not accept status quo. So, James, when did you officially open the business? When did you launch the brand?
Well, I'd say the brand launched 2017, and it really was sort of a part-time nighttime. I always tell people I left my full-time job and went to my second job and ran. I would run it at night and on weekends, and it really didn't become a full-time operation with me until about 14 months ago.
14 months ago. And then March of 2020, COVID hits the world. How did you respond to that? What happened?
I responded to it like everyone else. A lot of doubt, a lot of questioning. The feeling of powerlessness was intense. Luckily the governor labeled our industry as essential, so he never shut us down. But everything around us shut down, and so yes, the liquor stores stayed open, but the liquor stores are a very small part of our business. And when the restaurants and the bars shut down, everything basically came to a grinding halt. And so what did we do? We paused. I like to say that I had a huge breakdown. Watched a lot of Netflix. Slept late. Tried to manage my kids with my wife, who's again my business partner, but she's my my rock. So she helps to redirect me, and you just have to focus on what you actually have power on. Over, like, I didn't have power over COVID, but there were things around me, things in the world that I could control, and I focused on that.
So what you're saying is that some of the mindsets as soon as COVID hit, and again, I'm pretty sure that people who are listening are totally, whether they're running their own business or in their own personal careers or personal lives, they're experience a lot of the same thing. You experience doubt, you question yourself, you felt powerless, and then you hit what you said is you hit that pause and you had a huge breakdown, right?
Yeah,
Where
absolutely.
and then what you're saying is that you made a choice to focus not on what you couldn't control, but what you could control. What were some of those things that you could control, James?
So, again, having a healthcare background, there was an immediate need. One of the first things I did was I reached out to everyone in healthcare who I knew and said, what can I do to help you guys? And so I took some time and leapt back into the healthcare world, and we set up an emergency COVID facility on Cape Cod that the governor ordered to be open. So we worked on that. We got that open in record time, and then from there, I went back and said, okay, now what else can I do? What do I have around me that can help the community? And I had a ton of unsellable, unsold spirits, and what can I do with that? So I turned it into hand sanitizer.
Wow.
So I made hand sanitizer for a while, and we donated more than we sold. So I reached out. I took hand sanitizer and donated it to some cancer houses for children in Boston and healthcare facilities around. So we did whatever we could. Yes, we weren't getting paid for it, but we were helping, and so it gave us purpose and it kept us busy. And then the market for the hand sanitizer. Then we were able to start selling hand sanitizer, and so that helped us limping along. And what other things I had on the plan for 2020? So we had the canned cocktail product sitting on a shelf waiting to hit the market, and then we said, so now we can run with that. As restaurants started opening, as liquor stores started opening, as people started getting more comfortable leaving their house, that was now the time we launched a new product into COVID.
I love, and we're going to have to take a break shortly, but I just love what you said, that in the midst of the breakdown, in the midst of what wasn't working, you connected with purpose. You found a way to connect with purpose and give back to the community. So hold that thought, James. Hang tight so that we can come back and continue on this incredible conversation. We'll be back. You know, And welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. We are talking to James Mamery, who is the founder, co-owner, head distiller of Crooked Oak Distillery. This is a business that he started, and then COVID hit, and he had to deal with an enormous breakdown. So he is a really great example of shifting from a very negative mindset to positive to transform the results of his business. So again, welcome back, James.
Hi.
So we talked a little bit about purpose, and I loved what you shared, that in the midst of this enormous breakdown, you really connected with purpose. You supported your family business, and you made something. You turned, spirit that you weren't using into hand sanitizer. That's pretty resourceful right there. What would you say, James, is why would you say, or how important is mindset for you as an entrepreneur or as a business owner? What would you tell anyone out there who is thinking about wanting to pursue what they love?
Yeah, I mean, I would say mindset's elemental. If you feel that you're going to fail, you are going to fail. It's guaranteed, and you can't start your day. You don't want to roll out of bed in the morning saying, this is going to be, the opposite of your interest zone. It's you not. This day is going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible, and you can't focus on negativity because it shines through in your work, and it everyone around you. Even, like, for example, like our business it's Melissa and myself. It's two people. If I'm negative at work, it shines on everyone around me. I'm not gonna convince someone to buy my product if I'm negative about the product. I'm not. You have to be a cheerleader, and it comes through. You can be negative and sad and hide under your bed, but that's what your result is going to be.
Yeah, and that's always an option. I tell people, let me know how that works out for you. What would you say are some things that you specifically may have done to shift that negative conversation into something else?
Wow. I would say that it's one, relying on the people around me, pulling on those resources of family, talking to a good coach like you, just really not choosing to, not choosing to fail. Failure is not an option. Tomorrow is not guaranteed for me, so I have to take advantage of everything that I have going on for me right now.
Yeah. And by the way, so I asked the question because I want you guys listening to get that you don't have to have a fancy answer. This is very simple. Something as simple as failure, just telling to yourself, failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. So you get to choose. You get to decide. Are you going to choose failure, or are you going to choose something else? So again,
I just like to jump in on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
One last thing. Like when we first started this business, it's heavily regulated. It's hard to break into it, into the marketplace. And my wife, who does all the sales, and if she was on the phone, she would tell you the same exact story. But she said she said, I'm not going to fail at this. And she walked into a national retailer and said, I'm here. I want to sell this product. I'm not leaving until I get a meeting. And that was our first big sale. And she could have said, it's too hard. No one's ever going to talk to me. I'm not going to succeed. She did the opposite. She said, I'm going in. I'm going to make this sale, and that was really a pivotal point in our company.
And that speaks to courage. Like she had the courage in the face. By the way, again, those of you who are listening, this is not about bravery, right? Like pursuing what you want requires bravery. It's being said, this is not my quote, that bravery is not the absence of fear. There's fear is always going to be around. So you want to embrace fear. You want to be okay with the fear. Bravery is moving, taking action in the face of fear. That's what bravery is defined. That's courage. So, Melissa, by the way, I know Melissa. I think we're going to have a show just with Melissa. She's absolutely, you are one of the luckiest people in this world because she really, truly is. She accepted, the invitation from you to co-own this business, and she took charge, and she's absolutely an amazing, amazing human. So, again, going back to a couple of things that you said that are key to shifting mindsets, connecting with purpose, shifting negative conversations into positive conversations, and having the courage to do what you may not want to do, even because you're afraid of. So in the face of fear, always having the courage to move forward.
Yeah. I mean, and then in the face of everything going on, we had been working on this new product with Brian Scalabrine from the former professional basketball player on the Celtics. And we had been working with him for a year, and we had this big plan to launch in the spring, and we had all of our accounts lined up. And plans changed with COVID, but we pivoted on that, and we went, instead of doing a face-to-face marketing campaign, we pivoted to a digital campaign, and that has been uncomfortable and new for us, and I think, but also successful. I mean, we didn't have a choice. It was do or die, and I think that goes along with taking advantage of new opportunities.
So let's make sure that everyone hears this loud and clear. So you are in a partnership with Brian Scalabrine, known as Scal.
Yes.
And so that's amazing. Good for you. Congratulations on that. And so in the face of COVID, you were forced to find new strategies to keep moving your business forward. So again, facing the uncomfortable, because social media is not something that's comfortable for you, but you had to face that in order to keep moving your business forward. That's what I heard.
Yes, yeah, and part of leadership is learning that you need the right team around you, and so understanding the new challenges and the fact that I'm uncomfortable with social media. I reached out to people I know, including you, and you partnered the company up with Lindsay, who is an amazing social media person, and she works and
I hope you're paying her well. Just saying.
And my wife Melissa and Lindsay, I let them run with it. So I know it because I completely don't get social media, and I'm comfortable delegating.
So let me ask you, just so that we can wrap up. What would you tell other business owners, or actually, what would you tell anyone who's struggling right now to see opportunity? They can't see what's possible. What would you tell them, James?
Well, there's opportunity everywhere, and it's there. You just have to take a deep breath and center and look around. And it's not traditional opportunity. It's not capitalism is always about creative destruction. And so just because things are falling down around doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity to advance, and you just have to be comfortable pivoting towards that new opportunity. It's not ever going to be easy, even in good times.
So to look for the opportunity, or look for the silver lining. There's always a silver lining.
Right.
There's always something, no matter what the breakdown is, no matter how bad it may look in the moment. Look for the silver lining. There's always, always, always an opportunity. I believe that. I live my life that way. James, if anyone wants to, follow you, they want to see what you're up to with Brian Scalabrini, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, the easiest way is go to our website. It's www.scal.rocks, R-O-C-K-S.
www.scal.rocks, R-O-C-K-S. James, I am so proud of you. Tell Melissa I am so proud of her, and thank you so much for being with us. I know that your conversation made a tremendous difference for those, everyone who's listening. Thank you again, James. And it's time for us to take a break. And welcome back to Get a Grip with Coach Elix. Wasn't that an awesome conversation with James?
It was, and I knew it was going to be because he is. I still hear the music. You know what? I think that's the delay from
somewhere.
the live stream. I think that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. But I'm not surprised, Elix, about James because he's just a very interesting person. And, when you listen, I loved when he said there's opportunity always opportunity. And I also, I love the fact when you hear his story that really is the difference between someone who moves forward with what they want, their dreams, their path, their passion, and someone who has the same but doesn't move forward with theirs. And I'm telling you, that's what I talked about, the polar opposites. I mean, I love how James said there's a commonality between any of the businesses, like with service and giving people what they need or what they want, and depending on the industry. But the fact that he went from healthcare to a distillery is just It's just amazing to
Yeah,
me.
and you know, to piggyback on what you're saying, if you are listening and you're thinking, well, but he had this, or I'm not like that, or I'm not, you know, like what we said last year, I'm not good enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough. The truth is, there is no difference.
No.
The only difference is that he decided to take action in the face of fear, and somebody else may not. Now, I'm not here to judge that, by the way. You do whatever you want to do. All I'm saying is that if you say that for you, you're committed, your purpose is to live the best day of your life, you cannot live the best day of your life without being willing to take committed action, without being willing to, move forward, to be brave, to be courageous, and move forward in the face of fear. That's what I'm saying. And I think Mark has something to say.
Well, I'm not sure if people are thinking, well, gee, I got to have this great idea and go out and do it. It's not all about, starting your own business like he did.
Absolutely.
It's being positive with whatever you do for your living. If you work for a company, how can I do the best I can do working for somebody else?
Yeah.
And am I happy doing what I'm doing? And not being afraid, even in a tough time, to look around and see if there is something
That's
you'd rather
beautiful.
be doing.
Absolutely. And that's why I always tell people, listen, I talk about a game because I love the metaphor of, playing and winning and scoring, or versus sitting on the sideline and hoping to win. So, I use that often, but I tell people, I don't define your game. You define your game. So for some people, may be a business, but for some others, may be starting school, or for someone else, maybe changing a career, having a career change, or making a big decision. Whatever that is, you get to define your game. There's no right or wrong answer here. This is life, and you get to decide what that looks like.
Can I give you a little example?
Sure, go ahead.
Last year, I believe it was, I've been here for a few years now. Dominic, the guy who does our morning show, Wake Up with Dominic, was going to be away for 3 weeks on a vacation. And our boss asked me to fill in for.
Oh, I remember us having that
Remember
conversation. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
I really didn't think I could do
Yeah.
it. I really said, gee, Dominic does such a different program than I do. I play music and I only talk a little bit between the records. You guys know, you've heard my show. And I didn't think I could do it. And Jim Jones, our manager, kept saying to me, don't do his show. Substitute for him, but do it your way.
Yes.
Right. The way you feel comfortable doing it. Put the elements in like he does, but do it in your own way.
Be you.
And he really had to hit me, and you guys talked to me about it. You did.
Of course.
I did. Yeah, we both
And
did.
Stephen did. Both of you did.
Yeah, to tell you to do it.
We don't get you off the hook. We don't actually, anyone who knows me and who's around me know that they don't get off the hook very easily, if ever.
You know what, Elix, before you continue, I just
Yeah.
got to say something that stuck out with James, is that I love when you asked James, like, how did, like, even the concept of going into a different business happened. And I love that James talked about being curious. And I know that when people speak to me and ask, if it comes up in a reading about passion or following a path, I always tell them that how you find that if you don't know what you are passionate about or what you love is follow the curiosity. What are you curious about? And that will always lead you to the path. So when he said that, I like applauded in my head like that. I love James that you said that.
I think curiosity is, it's a key element, to pursue what it is you want to step into that gap. One thing that I promised everyone is that I was going to give you some hands-on, tips on shifting that mindset from negative to positive. One of the people that I use, I read a lot of his resources very frequently. I've used this with many of my clients, is Robin Sharma, who's an international well-known coach, and he's got this document he calls it 6 Rules of Learned Bravery. And the idea here is that, again, if in order for you to pursue what you want, you got to be brave, you got to have courage, you got to step into the fear and embrace the fear and still move forward. So here's the 6 rules, and I'll kind of give you a quick breakdown, and perhaps I'll even ask Lindsay to, put them on social media. But, find your mighty why. James talked about that. That's, you got to connect with purpose. If there's no purpose, nothing happens. Nothing happens. I spent a lot of time, creating vision, and having people connect with their aspirations, because that connects with purpose. So ask yourself, what's your why? What is it that drives you? What is it that gets you really excited? Number 2 is take off your mask. And what he means by that is stop pretending, be authentic, be real, like own yourself, speak your truth. By the way, that's one thing that, Stephen, I've learned from you. I watch you, and I've become very good at speaking my truth because I follow you. That's your wheelhouse. You're always speaking your truth no matter what, and you're willing to take a stand for your truth regardless. Number 3 is really be optimistic. You got to really learn to transform conversations from pessimistic conversations to optimistic conversations. And one way to be optimistic is to be grateful. Practice the art of being grateful. Gratitude every day. I cannot begin to tell you how often I speak gratitude, day in, day out, multiple times a day. And here he talks about stop comparing yourself to others. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stay in your own lane. You are you, and there's only one of you, and that's all that matters, and stop giving 3 blinks about what other people think or say. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference. What other people think about you is none of your business. Have you ever heard that one? Seek discomfort. We talked about that. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. James talked about how important he had to practice at doing things that, would have frightened him normally. But he knew that in order for him to grow, he had to seek that. And do things that help you get better at willpower. So that when you commit to something, you actually do it. And then create a circle of courage. Surround yourself with people who are going to support you. So if there's energy suckers in your life, you got to keep them at distance because they actually suck the living life out of you.
I'm going to put that on my desk.
Awesome.
I've never heard those, and I think those 6, and I think they're amazing to see daily. And remind yourself that those pointers, Elix, are tremendous.
I remind myself daily, every day, that that's what it takes if you're really committed to being the best version of yourself, however you define that. But I'm running out of time, but there's 2 things that I want to do. I want to bring my mom into the studio so that we can collectively say a big happy birthday to her. I share a brief video earlier before my show that my mom, it's turning 95 today. So yay for my mom. And today the conversation is about shifting mindsets from negative to positive mindsets. And all I can say is, listen, to get to 95 and to be in the health condition that she's in, she is in better shape than many of us. You have got to have a real positive mindset. So for those of you watching the Stream Live show, there's my mom. She's 95. Help me wish her a happy 95th birthday. Happy birthday, Consuelo. Her name is Consuelo. 95. And she looks, by the way, again, take a look at the live stream. She looks freaking amazing. Her mind is sharp, actually sharper than mine. She remembers things I don't even remember. So happy birthday to my mom. For those of you listening, thank you again for listening. Bye-bye, everyone.
We're going to show her the stream.
See.